speak droid so I can give voice commands and actually get information back from him. Yeah, I don't know why Discovery didn't love that idea. Yes, sir. Kjell Lindgren, everybody! Kjell, how are you doing today?
Silicon, this is the International Space Station. Comp check.
Amazing. Kjell, where are you in the station right now?
Adam, it is so great to hear your voice, and I got to listen in a little bit on your discussion about R2 and BB-8. That was really fun, and I actually didn't know any of that. I am currently in the Japanese experiment module, and if we think about when the space station is flying, I'm kind of up in the front left of the space station, and behind me you can see two of our open. I have the shutters open on our windows, and we're facing out to the port side.
Amazing. I can't believe we're chatting to you and you are floating above us 250 miles up in space, man. Kjell, that really landed beautifully here with the audience. We have a whole bunch of questions this hour, and the very first one comes from Lynn Nordstrom, who has a birthday today, so would you mind giving a happy birthday to Lynn?
Well, I'm so excited to answer Lynn's question, and Lynn, happy birthday from low Earth orbit.
Lynn wants to know, where do you see the future of the space industry going in the next 10 to 20 years?
Wow, that is a really great question. And, you know, if we think about just what has happened in the past 10 years, what the next 10 to 20 years holds is really, I think, mind-bending. We are embarking on our third decade of science and research on the International Space Station, a collaboration among 5 space agencies, over 15 countries, conducting science and research to extend our presence in the solar system and make life better back on Earth. In this past year, our commercial partnerships have allowed us to bring astronauts to and from the International Space Station on commercial spaceships. It's absolutely amazing. And within the next couple of days, we're about to send a rocket to the moon. Super, super exciting. And so this is an amazing time to be a part of spaceflight. You know, we have the James Webb Telescope sending back amazing images to help us unlock the secrets of the universe. We have robotic missions still operating on Mars. It is an incredible time to be a part of spaceflight and human spaceflight, and so excited to be a part of it.
Eugene Loffink asks, I am a 4-year-old aspiring astronaut. What words of wisdom can you offer me? That kid's going places.
Wow, Eugene, that's awesome. So excited for you, and we would love for you to come and explore with us. I'm sure that you will be living and working on Mars. What words of wisdom can I offer? Well, like any worthy goal, it requires hard work. And so just be aware of that and invest that work in your future. For you, the best thing that I can recommend to you is to read. Read. Read about things that you're interested in, you're passionate about. Read to discover and explore. And I would read about science and math. Those are that is the language of spaceflight. And so if you're interested in becoming an astronaut, interested in participating in this amazing adventure of exploring the Earth in our solar system, definitely pursue those things. But don't be afraid to make that goal of wanting to be an astronaut and sharing that goal with your friends and family. They will want to invest in you and help you achieve that goal, and just keep on working hard at it. And every day, just do one small thing to work towards that goal, and you'll be amazed what you're able to accomplish.
Another question, someone says that their 8-year-old aspiring astronaut daughter wants to know, what is the most difficult physical challenge you have had as an astronaut?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I can't recall any one particular very, very difficult physical challenge. There are challenges all along the way. There are challenges in pursuing that goal, that dream of becoming an astronaut, and then once you're in the astronaut office, there are challenges every day that ultimately lead to this amazing opportunity, this privilege of getting to live and work in low Earth orbit in this incredible marvel of engineering. I would say that some of my most challenging physical days were probably in the spacesuit, doing spacewalk training, and then actually during my last mission, doing the spacewalk. That is probably the most physically and mentally demanding task that I have undertaken in my astronaut career, is the actual spacewalk itself. And so it's excellent. It's great that our training in the neutral buoyancy laboratory, a 6 million gallon pool with a mock-up, a life-size model of the space station in it, is such challenging work, because it really provides us with the opportunity to experience and prepare for a real spacewalk.
Claire Duke wants to know, what is the remaining lifespan, oh, you show off, of the International Space Station, and when it's decommissioned, how is it disposed of?
That's a great question. We have, of course, invested so much time and resources in building the space station, and we want to really leverage this incredible orbiting laboratory for as much as that we can, to learn about human physiology, to learn and how we can live and succeed in long duration missions, to learn about basic laws of nature, physics, combustion, fluid dynamics, and to help us prepare for our missions to the moon and then to Mars. Our current plan is to extend the life of the space station to 2030. We currently have agreements in place for all of our partners to operate it until 2024. But we would like to push that out to 2028 and even to 2030. From an engineering standpoint, we think that we can make that work. But it's true. You know, when you think about a car that is 20 years old, there are parts of the space station that are over 20 years old now, and it is in an incredibly challenging environment. And yet our engineers have done an amazing job of keeping it operating in great shape. But when that time comes that we have to say goodbye to the space station, we will make sure that it is controllable, we'll make sure that it has enough fuel, and then we will deorbit it and likely try to put it into the Pacific Ocean. And it's very important that we have control of the space station, that we are in full control of it and have the propulsion and fuel able to safely deorbit it so that it doesn't go into an area where people could be injured. It's a really sad thing to think about. And I think it's one of the remarkable things about this space station and why it's such a privilege to get to be here to live and work on it, because so many hundreds, thousands of people have worked on it and invested millions of hours, and yet there are just a very few of us that actually get to see it in its operating condition. You know, an engineer that builds a 747 gets to fly on it. All the people that have worked on this have not gotten to see it with their own eyes in operation, and we won't be able to bring part of it back, you know, to the Earth to put in a museum. It would just be too costly to try and bring a module back. So. It will be a sad day when we have to say goodbye.
Excuse me. Well, actually, speaking of medical research, being a medical doctor, Randolph Klein wants to know, what is the most intriguing non-medical research you've conducted as an astronaut?
The space station is amazing because most laboratories are dedicated to a single field of science, and yet we have built this incredible station that looks at all different domains of science, some of which we interact with on a daily basis, and some of which is just installed. We might help install it, turn it on, and then folks on the ground will operate it. We have a cold atom laboratory that I'm told has created the conditions that are the coldest in the universe, which is mind-blowing to me that exists right next to where I work out on the exercise bike. We have an instrument on top of the space station, the alpha magnetic spectrometer, that is looking for dark matter. I mean, cutting edge science. Some of the things that I've worked on that I've really enjoyed is there was this experiment during my last mission called capillary beverage, and we looked at how we could cause fluids to move simply by using the geometry of a cup and the materials, and we could use surface tension and capillary motion to deliver those fluids when you can't pour a drink out, but the shape of that cup could deliver it to your mouth. And that has application to fuel tanks. Why use a pump and power when you can deliver fuel simply by the shape of the fuel tank? And so that was something. It also meant that I got to drink a lot of coffee and juice and water in the name of science. So I really enjoyed that. And then also working on plants. I love working in our backyard. We grow native plants in our backyard, and so being up here and getting to grow plants in our plant installation is amazing. Currently, we have a program called X-Roots, and it's using aeroponics and hydroponics to grow different types of plants. And actually, right now, we're growing like carrots and radishes and edible plants, and I'm really excited to see how those turn out. And those have application for future spaceflight as well. When we go into deep space, when we go to Mars, we have to think about ways that we can add to our food supply and potentially to our environmental control system. Having plants pulling carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere would be an amazing addition to an environmental control system.
Well, you are talking to a group of people that is deeply invested in 3D printing, and there is a 3D printer on the ISS. I'm curious how additive manufacturing has come in handy on the space station.
You know, it is an amazing thing. I know that many parts of our vehicles, or our spacecraft even, are made with additive manufacturing. I have not personally gotten to work with it yet. I know that in previous missions, they've actually built wrenches and adapters for use up here. Unfortunately, we haven't, to my knowledge, and I may be wrong, we have not yet created things made on order. Hey, we lost this piece. Can we make one? We've not been doing that quite yet. But I think that, again, as we talk about going to the moon and a permanent habitat on the moon and going to Mars, being able to replace parts through additive manufacturing is going to be critically important. And I'm really excited that we have that we're testing that now. We're using the space station for what it was made for, and that is to test out these concepts for future deep space flight.
Peter Tachibana wants to know, what is the quality of sleep while you're on board the International Space Station? How do you sleep? Where do you sleep?
Well, I sleep great, and I think it's an individual thing. I think there are some folks that maybe have some trouble sleeping up here, but we sleep in sleeping bags. Our crew quarters are about the size of a small closet. For some of you folks from earlier generations, the 80s and 90s, it's about the size of a phone booth. And it's the perfect amount of room for privacy, to work on email, and then to sleep. And so my sleeping bag, I have one bungee that just holds it against the wall, and then I get into that and I just free float in it. And so it's me and my sleeping bag free floating in my crew quarters, and it's amazing. It feels like you're sleeping on a cloud.
So you're floating around in this phone booth. What if your head bumps into something?
It's honestly, once you're in the sleeping bag, you're moving around very slightly. And so if my head were to bump the top of my crew quarters, it might just tap just a little bit, and I might stop there, or I might just rebound slowly and come down, and so it just doesn't matter.
Leland Mayer asks, how much does the International Space Station actually weigh?
So I kind of feel like Leland might be a physics major that's trying to trick me or get me in trouble. The space station doesn't weigh anything because we are in constant free fall and have this essentially sensation of weightlessness. If we were to put the space station on the Earth, it would weigh almost 1 million pounds. And it would occupy about the size of an American football field. So it is an absolutely amazing, an amazing thing to see in space. I remember so clearly the first time that I saw it when during my last launch, as we were approaching the space station during docking. To see it just floating there was just mind-blowing. It just didn't seem real, and now here I am inside of it, and it's an amazing place to live and work.
Hannah Macbeth asks, what are the most important personal or personality attributes an aspiring astronaut should have?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think it's really those traits that make anyone a good teammate, a good team member. So when we select astronauts, we're looking for hard workers, people that are easy to get along with. Let me tell you, living and working with folks in an enclosed space, in a hazardous environment where there can be a lot of pressure and stress, a constant schedule that you're trying to keep up with, for long durations of time, you need to be living and working with people that are easy to get along with. But most of all, I think adaptability. I think that is a defining trait. Regardless of the plan, things generally don't go according to plan. Things break, and so we have to work around that. We have to adapt and figure out a way forward. Troubleshooting is a big part of spaceflight. And so whether it's living in an environment, an enclosed environment with a number of people, whether it's embarking on a particular task and not being able to find a particular tool, being able to roll with the punches and complete the mission are very important. And so adaptability is a big part of being a successful astronaut.
Now I know that you have tons of work to do on the ISS, but what do you do for fun? What kind of games do you guys play up there?
Well, this is one of the things that we get to do. Getting to talk with friends on the ground, I think, is one of our favorite things to do. And so thank you so much for letting me be a part of this. This is an amazing opportunity to be a part of this con. We love to just hanging out in the cupola and looking out the windows. The Earth is absolutely amazing. It is gorgeous and beautiful, and so having that ability to just look out the window and see the Earth going by is wonderful. And taking photos and video of that and getting to share that is really important to us. And talking on the phone. Talking on the phone with family and friends back on Earth. We have a voice over internet protocol phone. If there's a cell number on the ground, we can call it. And it is really, really cool to be able to just call somebody on their phone from the International Space Station. And that's something that is something that I do a lot of when I have free time. We like to hang out, just like you do when back on Earth. We like to hang out in the galley around the dinner table and talk. And then every once in a while, we'll do silly, stupid astronaut tricks and try and do flips and see who can get as many flips before they run into something and that sort of thing. So it's a lot of fun.
Sarah Shapiro wants to know, are you concerned about Russia's announcement that they'll be pulling out of the ISS? Do you believe that we'll be able to continue to man and use it if they do pull out?
That's a good question, and certainly I think we all heard that announcement. I think it was about a month ago now, and it actually turns out that was misinterpreted. And so the Russians are committed to the previous date that we've all agreed to, working together until 2024. And then all of our international partners are interested and excited about trying to extend that to 2030, and that is including the Russians. And so we cannot do this. We cannot be successful at this mission of conducting science and research on the International Space Station without all the partners. It is through that partnership, it is through collaboration and cooperation together that we are able to do the amazing things that we do up here. And so we're looking forward to a fruitful partnership through to the end of this decade.
Michael Griffin has a wonderful question. What do you think of the public-private partnership? How do you think private investors and billionaires' interest in commercializing space will affect NASA in the future?
It's a great question, and I think that it's an indicator. It's the fact that investors are interested means that there is something worth investing in. That billionaires are interested. It means that that we're managing risk at a point where, again, billionaires or folks that are investing money see promise. The commercial sector, the partnerships that we have had with the commercial sector have been incredibly beneficial, not only to NASA in achieving its missions, for example, delivering cargo, delivering astronauts to the International Space Station, but also for the country. We have a vibrant commercial space industry, and NASA, part of our role is to serve as the infrastructure, to serve as a partner to help the growth of the commercial sector within our country, and I think that we've been very successful at that. NASA will always have a role in leading human spaceflight and spaceflight for our country, for the world. We will do the difficult things that may not have a lot of promise financially, at least initially, that may have more risk. NASA will have a role at serving at the frontier and being really at the edge of the envelope in exploration. But we look forward to our commercial partners walking alongside us, being alongside us as we push forward and helping us with the things that we absolutely know that we can do. For example, transportation into low Earth orbit.
Leland Meyer wants to know what is the what is the hardest part about being in space for you personally? You're up there for about 6 months right now.
Yeah, that's right, and definitely for me, it's being away from family. So as a part of training, we definitely travel a lot to train, and we are separated from our families there. And so for me, being away from my family for 6 months is challenging. And we certainly knew that is a part of this job, and accepted that. But it still doesn't make it fun, that part of it very fun. But the fact that we have the ability to communicate with our family, I am able to talk to my family every day. In fact, after this conference, I'll have the opportunity to have a video conference with them. We do that once a week. The resources that we have to stay in touch with our loved ones are tremendous, and it's a huge help in being able to be successful in these long duration missions.
Now that makes me wonder, are you able to actually do things like help your kids with their homework from space?
I am. So they will send me, as an example, my son's working on college applications right now, and I'll ask him to send a PDF up by email so that I can take a look at it, and we'll talk things over, and so it's great to still be able to be a part of their daily lives, even though we're separated by at least 250 miles.
A sharp-eyed viewer, Wendy Hamilton, noticed that for the Expedition 45 crew poster, you're wearing Jedi robes but are holding a red lightsaber. And so they ask, do you consider yourselves more of a fan of the Jedi or the Sith? But I just want to know, did you capture it from someone in battle?
So I can't give away all the mystery here, but I was inspired as a young child. I was inspired by science fiction, both in the written form and movies, and of course Star Wars was a huge part of that. And then it was watching the Space Shuttle, Columbia, the very first launch in April of 1981, that really drove home the point that science fiction could actually be science fact, that there was a path to living and working in space. So Star Wars has always been a big, a favorite of mine. And so getting to do a poster using the Star Wars world was a lot of fun. And there was definitely purpose in the lightsaber colors that we chose. I kind of chose them, proposed them, and chose them for the rest of my crewmates, and I was grateful that they were up for doing a Star Wars poster. But I loved that whole that world, and of course the both parts of it, the Sith and the Jedi. But I'm definitely rooting for the Jedi.
I know you get a sunrise and a sunset every 90 minutes up there. I noticed that the windows behind you had light behind them when we started talking and are now dark. Have you just moved into a night cycle?
We sure have. I actually opened those windows. If we'd had time, I was going to bring you over to look outside while it was lit up, and we can see this. We could have seen the space station very clearly. But we're just at the Terminator right now, where we're passing from day into night. And it is, it's super dark out there now, and so there was really, unfortunately, nothing to see. So yeah, I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you.
Okay. Hey, is it possible for you to show us a trick with water? It's one of my favorite things that you do.
Adam, I thought you'd never ask. I would be delighted to show you. I brought a couple of items over here with me. This time I remembered to bring a towel.
Towel.
So first, I'm going to move a little bit closer so we can see. You know how important a towel is to spaceflight. Samantha Cristoforetti, my crewmate, she will. Oh, there's Samantha right here. She'll be the first to let you know how important it is to have a towel when you're traveling in space. So first we'll just start with a couple of our favorite chocolate, candy-covered chocolates. That's another benefit of getting to fly in space, is that you get to play with your food. All right, water. So our drinks come in these, our drinks, we use these kind of aluminized foil bags. And if it's coffee, it's got dehydrated coffee in it. If it's water, it's just an empty bag, and so that's what we've got here. You can start to see, I think we've got some ventilation that's maybe blowing on this bubble. I'm going to try and blow it back towards the camera. You don't want to hit the camera, of course.
There we go. Okay, Kjell, we are reaching the end of our uplink. We have to say goodbye, but everybody, let Kjell know how great that was. Kjell, thank you so much, my friend. I will talk to you soon, and I'll see you when you're back. Safe travels. That was amazing! Holy cow! Incredible. Like a boss. What a mic drop. That's the best mic drop I've ever seen. All right, you guys. Have a great rest of the day. I will see you at multiple events throughout today. Love you guys. Have a great afternoon.